On my first video, I talked about my solar generator. I also mentioned that even with almost 2 kilowatt hours of energy in the battery, I still didn't have enough to power my oxygen concentrator all night, as it took a little over 2 kilowatt hours. On this video, I will cover my second battery pack, which I connected to my solar generator, so I can power my oxygen concentrator all night and show you a few other things I use it for. But first, I want to address that a few people thought I was talking too slow on the first video. Yes, I was. I was trying to emphasize the specs and details of the solar generator. I thought it was important that viewers really understood all the specs combined and what really makes my solar generator unique. And hey, I'm getting old and slow. Okay, back to the video. Using Anderson connectors, I designed a cable that would plug into the load side of my battery pack. The other end would plug into the charge port of my solar generator. As I use power from the solar generator, it simply draws power from the battery pack because of the voltage difference between the two batteries. It works great, and with almost 4 kilowatt hours of energy, I never run out using my oxygen concentrator. The battery pack is really just basically the same thing I have in the solar generator. 8 72 amp hour lithium iron phosphate cells connected together to create a nominal 24 volt battery with a BMS to control everything. Since there's no inverter, it is quite compact and only weighs 35 pounds. I put it in a battery case so it's easy to carry and to protect it. Besides connecting it to the solar generator, I use it to power my Dometic 65-quart portable refrigerator freezer. Besides having a 120 volt connection, the freezer has a 12 24 volt connection. Using a cigarette lighter type connection, I simply connect it to the battery pack. The SBMS has a Wi-Fi AP built in, so if I need to check on the battery, it's easily done with my cell phone without having to look at the SBMS display. I could also plug the freezer into the car to keep it powered, and that's okay as long as you're running the engine to charge the battery. A problem can occur if you turn off the car engine for any length of time. It could drain your car battery too low to start. Although the freezer has a built-in battery saver, where it will shut down the freezer if the battery gets too low, I prefer to use the battery pack in case I leave the car for several hours or days. This portable freezer sitting in the house uses less than 300 watt hours in a day, but in the car, where the temperature can be much warmer when the car AC isn't running, it can use 3 times that energy. So in my house, the battery could power the freezer for about a week, whereas in the car, maybe only 2 days. I live in a small town in central Utah. The closest Costco is about 50 miles away. My favorite place to shop. I used to use an ice chest to transport the frozen food we would buy there. It would be about 2 hours from the Costco freezer to our home freezer. The food wouldn't totally thaw out in the cooler, but would thaw out part way. Have you ever had a 5-pound bag of spicy chicken wings partially thaw out, then refreeze into one big clump? This freezer has been great. It keeps our frozen food frozen the entire time. We can even buy ice cream now. Some other things I can use the battery pack for are these small 3-watt LED lights. They came with my Sunrayton inverter, which has since died. So I just got some barrel connectors and wired 4 of them up to the battery. With almost 20 feet of wire on each light, well, they work great. Here I have a multi-cigarette lighter type connection. I have several USB type plugs and these cute little lights that put out a fair amount of light for their size. Since this is a nominal 24-volt battery, not everything will work at that voltage. So I have this little converter that can be adjusted from about 1.5 volts up to the voltage of the battery pack. I don't have anything that I use it for yet, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared.